Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Kathleen.
I'm a former Christian deconstructing and figuring out what works for me.
And I'm a former Mormon turned atheist.
Welcome to the CNA podcast.
Let's dive in.
Hey guys, have you left a review for our podcast yet? Head over to wherever you listen to your podcast and do that right now.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Christian and the Atheist.
Check us out on Patreon for ad-free content.
And speaking of ads, if you or your business would like to sponsor the Christian and the Atheist podcast, feel free to contact us to get started.
Welcome to the CNA podcast morning show, where we let you know what's going on in our lives right now.
So, I'm obviously on Zoom. We're on Zoom. She's at her house. I'm at mine. Guess what? So we've changed our name.
Yeah.
Something else is changing.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I'm moving out of state. My family and I are being relocated to Chicago.
Yep.
And so people that know us personally have been like, what are you doing with the podcast? And I was like, well, funny thing is technology is amazing and we can still have the podcast. So
we can Zoom. We can use all kinds of different ways. There will obviously be some changes as this whole process goes, but
Yeah. So the the reason why we're going to Chicago is my husband ended up taking a job in Chicago. So the company he works for is based out of Chicago. So we're moving. What's crazy is what sparked this is it's funny. He got a new position in the job he's in, and he's like, they're asking me if I ever want to move to Chicago. And I was like, no, we're never, ever, ever going to be moving to Chicago. Like, don't ever think about it. And then I'm an Oklahoma girl for life. I was like, this is where I live. This is where my family is. I'm not leaving. This is where Kathleen is. Like, no. And so, so then June comes around and I get kicked out of leadership at church. And I was like, I got kicked out on a Tuesday, whatever day that was. And then I drove all the way down to see my sister. And on one of the days I was down there, I went to a pier because she lives on the Lake Michigan. And I went and walked a pier, and it was in June. So it was perfect weather. And I'm on the phone with him and I said, we don't need Oklahoma to be our home base. We can come back to Oklahoma as much as we want, but let's try this Chicago thing. And he's like, done. So we let people know, and push comes to shove, we got shit done, and we're going to Chicago.
So here we go.
I'm freaking the F out.
Yeah. So. It's a big change. Moving across state lines is hard, especially with a family, with a whole house. It's not no small feat.
No, and I remember telling family, my grandma was like, you can't leave me. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry, but I'll come visit. So, and they're all like, oh my God, it's so expensive. And I'm like, absolutely it is. Like living in Oklahoma, like cost of living is so nice compared to there. So we're so spoiled. So I was like, oh, here we go. But it's going to be a good thing for the family. It'll be an experience, and you guys get to hear about it as much as I end up sharing. Hopefully it's all good.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited for you guys to be able to get out of you've never lived outside of Oklahoma, have you?
No, the farthest I've lived from I moved 2 hours from my family to live in Tulsa, and that was a huge move for me. I've only moved 6 times in my entire life.
Yeah. Some of the greatest times that we had as a family, me and Brandon and our kids, was when we lived away from everybody, across state lines, by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because we had to rely on each other. We had to turn to each other. We had to hang out with each other. There was no we just had the holidays. We just finished Christmas. And, I know you, like I do, get together with family. And for Christmas, when we lived far away, it was just us. So it was really like, it was like a chance to redo everything, know each other, love each other all the time. And so it was really some of our greatest memories as a family are when we lived far away. So I think you guys are going to have a good time.
I hope so. I think it'll be an adventure for sure. We've lived in our current house for 6 years and
Yeah.
have started getting it ready to put on the market. And I'm telling you what, I was cleaning out the top. We have 2 attics. One of the attics has like pictures and baby stuff and stuff that I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. And I
Yeah.
literally am going through it thinking, I am so thankful that I think from like 2006 for me, when I got a digital camera,
Yeah.
to probably 2014, we stopped printing off pictures all the time because they're all
Yeah.
on our phones and we
Yeah.
save them to a cloud thing. Oh my God, the amount of pictures we have. I'm like, this is insane. And I'm going through them and they're not organized because I wasn't an organized person back then, still kind of not now. So,
I still am not. What are you talking about?
so that's been interesting. We had a realtor come and look at the house. We've got to paint my black room in the studio. The reason why you can't see behind me, I have a background, is because it's a big mess. My
Yeah.
studio is beautiful and messy.
Ugh.
It's got to go back to boring white
The
or
amount,
light gray. Yeah.
like you painted your kitchen of like months, like maybe a month ago. This super cute coral pink, so fitting for you. Love it. The
And
realtor,
she's like, no,
you got to
nobody's
change.
going to want a pink lit kitchen. And I was like,
I thought it
fine.
would. I was like, oh, I liked it.
It does look stupid without all the decorations. And she's like, you're going to have to take everything off the wall so people can see it as they want their own stuff in it. I'm like, fine, whatever. But it'll be fine. So, yeah. And so another thing that we just talked about that I want to tell our listeners is, yes, we're still doing the podcast.
Yes.
But I have noticed both of us getting to a place of being like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
And we've come to the realization throughout the almost 3 years of doing this is we're not getting paid. We were, but now Spotify wants us to be working hard for our listeners. The more listens we get, the more they pay us. Well, they stopped paying us because they're like, you need to get even higher. And I was like, so they stopped paying us, which is fine. This is a hobby for us. We built this community. It's what?
It's a passion project, but
It's
we aren't getting any assistance in any other way except from each other. I mean, that's rude. Like our husbands are supportive, our friends
Oh
are
yeah.
Everybody's super supportive, but we aren't getting paid. We don't have somebody helping us with the workload.
It's a job, yeah. It's a job and the financial compensation is lacking.
Yeah.
But the other stuff that comes from like all the work we put in has been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I was just talking to you and thinking, how do you feel about continuing doing this? And I feel like it's a lot right now. And I don't know if it's because one, Christmas is chaotic for us both, and you've had an
It's terrible.
And then now I'm moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going to be living. I don't know the house. I have to sell this house before I can even like go for another.
Yeah.
So we were both talking and came to the agreement that we're going to slow down the amount of episodes. So it's not going to be every week. It's going to be every other week, which is still a great amount of time that we're going to be on air. So yeah, it's good. It's a good compromise.
We just need a little bit of a breather so that we can still continue to do this without being like we talked about. We love doing the podcast. We love bringing you this content. We love spending time with you this way. We love spending time with each other this way. But it is a lot of work and it is a lot of time. And we don't have either of those. So we're going to dial teeny bit just so that we can continue to do this without getting overwhelmed and burned out.
Yeah. So starting in February, it'll just be every other week. And I think it'll be good.
Yeah. I think it'll be great.
So,
And if
yeah.
you're mad, you can suck it.
She said, if you're mad, you can suck it. We talked about this. Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah. I think
and another thing, I've been talking to some of our super fans. So what we're gonna call them, super fans. Super fantastic fans. And they said that they like our morning show content a lot more than the other stuff, even though the other stuff's pretty great. So I think we're gonna I think during the move and stuff, I was gonna talk. I'm literally throwing this at you, Kathleen. You have no idea what I'm about to say.
Nope.
We're having a meeting and everybody's here to listen.
Okay.
But I had this idea. So while I've been painting and while I've been packing and going through stuff and getting rid of stuff and and panicking all the time, I've had my my AirPods in my ear listening to books. I have gone through 6 books since January started.
Dang, girl.
And one of those was Jill Duggar's book.
Yeah.
What's it called? Counting the Cost or something like that. Jill Duggar is part of the Duggar family who was on TLC, which was 19 Kids and Counting, if you don't know. If you don't know, I don't know what to say to you right now. Anyways, I was listening to her book and I was thinking, God, this is a good book. Don't hate me because I'm about to suggest something to you. So my little sister, for the whole, okay, so the Duggars were a big deal to me my whole life that I've ever watched them. I watched every single episode when they were 19 Kids and Counting. I didn't catch, or when it started with 17 Kids and Counting. I don't know when it started, but there was documentaries and then they became a show. And when the show started, I was like, this is a whole, a holy family. They're freaking amazing. I want 1 million kids. I want to live like they do. I want to be the submissive one. Your face.
Yeah, it's I don't know what you're suggesting. I'm nervous. What?
So, just bear with me. So I was obsessed with them. And then my little sister, who's 5 years younger than me, so she's a kid at this time when these shows are coming out. And I'm like a teenager and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like them when I grow up. And she's like, something's not right with that family. And they're beyond screwed up for having all those kids. Those kids are not getting the proper education, the proper attention from their parents. There's 19 of them and the older kids are having to take care of them, blah, blah, blah. She had feelings. And then I'd be like, how messed up of you to say that about this fantastic godly family.
Incorrect.
And then all this stuff came out about the oldest, and we're not going to talk about it because I don't want to put a trigger warning. He's a problem.
Yeah.
And trigger warnings for days.
In this family.
There's
a lot of problems in the family.
Yeah. And so Ginger, one of the, I think she's 6 in line, she ended up writing a book about IBLP, which is the belief system that they started believing in and how problematic it is. So I started listening to it. I turned it off within the 2nd chapter. I was like, I can't listen to this. It's trash. And it's not what I'm looking for. I was like, let me try Jill Duggar's book, Counting the Cost. Turn it on, listen. And I was like, she starts off with Bible verses. And I'm like, okay, is this going to be just like Ginger's? Because Ginger's was singing the praises of her parents still. And I'm like, those people, I've come to realize they're a problem. I stopped wanting to be like them. There's an issue there, clearly. And the way that the dad was covering up all of the oldest stuff, he did not take care of, did him an injustice. Anyway, so Jill's book starts off, I was like, and then I was literally leaning in, this is good. And she brought all the tea. She's literally talking so much about what happened and not holding back and talking shit on her dad. And I was like, So I'm listening to it and I was thinking what we can do on these this weird time of me moving and stuff is it's kind of like morning shows is bring my sister in and
Yeah.
you and me. All of us listen to the book or not. It doesn't have to be the case. And
Yeah.
Alexis bringing in her thoughts about the Duggars. I would love for you to read the book. Never mind.
I think it's not going to be anything because I've never watched the show. I don't know anything about the family besides what like you've said periodically. Like it is, I think I'm going to be completely out of my depth in a way of I don't get this. This is not like even the tea.
Maybe.
The only thing I know about the Duggars is when that headline of the oldest hit, I saw that on like Amazon or whatever.
Maybe Amazon.
Amazon. I don't know what's happening. Where's my brain?
So what I was thinking was we could do a new series called Girl Talk where we bring in one of our close buddies, sisters, whatever, and bring up topics or books or movies and talk about it together. And I know you say you're out of your depth with the Duggars, but I'm like, I think you still have like hands down the best commentary slash like what are that like one-liners that are hilarious that I think will be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
So
I think we could do something like that and it would be fun. Even if it's not, even if we do, like we could do the Duggars, the book or whatever, we've talked previously about watching Left Behind. We could do like that. We could do, stuff from our childhood. There's a million Mormon movies I could pull up that
I'm like, now I know why you were so against watching Left Behind. Sounds really miserable to watch a Mormon movie.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna pull up the 8-cow wife and you're gonna love it.
8-cow wife?
Yes. Yep.
8-cow wife.
Yeah.
She has 8 cows?
Oh no, she gets sold for 8 cows, and that's a good thing.
What?
Okay. Mormonism.
Well, all right. We'll just brainstorm some more. So, but yeah, I think that that could be fun. We could maybe add Colleen to the conversation and Ashley to the conversation, like do something like that to kind of bring a little fun, little different vibe to the show while also like,
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Anyways, I got asked to do something for someone and they asked me if I would say a prayer.
Yep.
What is with this?
Welcome to not being a Christian.
Did you get asked to pray after you left the church?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it was mostly stuff like what you're doing, which I know the details. And it's like, okay, of course. Yeah. It's not a big deal. Whatever.
I'm definitely doing it. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you want me, like, you didn't warn me this was going to happen.
Sorry.
I'm not mad. I'll literally like look up a Unitarian prayer for a thing and then do this. It'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I did. There were several times that I would, you're at a big family function and not everybody knows that you've left the church and they say, who wants to pray over the food? You want to? And you just do it. And, stuff, just similar stuff like that. Even now, sometimes, my little sister just had a baby, like ago, and a big thing in Mormonism is blessing the baby. It's like sort of like baptism. It's not baptism, but it's a similar, level of importance. And like, it's a big deal for Mormons. You have the baby and you bless it. Your whole family shows up and everybody celebrates and they go afterwards and you all eat lunch together and it's a big deal. And so I went to it. And of course that meant going to Mormon church. I went to sacrament meeting and I sang the songs and I, bowed my head for the prayers. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew. And if everybody who saw me there knew that I wasn't a Mormon, I think the nose ring kind of sets you off on that, And the outfit that I even went really conservative, but it was still conservative for me. So like, it was fine. But anyway, I
Yeah.
looked at me and was like, "Ooh, a new member has moved into the ward." But, it was still something I did to support my sister and
Yeah.
to be her. And, it just happens as somebody who's not religious. Sometimes you just have to dip a toe into religion every once in a while to be a good person anyway.
I agree. My background was showing my junk. Not my junk, but this junk. I got pants on. So I think to go off of what you said, it's like I'm realizing like I think I had preconceived notions of people who aren't religious or left
Yeah.
religion and it's like F everything.
Yeah.
That when it comes time to do stuff like step up for your sister and like do this, then absolutely, or step up for your best friend and do something for them. Absolutely, I can make this
Yeah.
happen. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
more than happy to do it. And I didn't, as a Christian, I don't think I expected people to be like that. I more so thought it'd be more inconvenient. So I
Yeah.
am like pleasantly like pleased with like changing that mindset of being like people are people and they're gonna show
Yeah.
up for you when you need them, regardless of their faith, and
Yeah.
respect your faith. I mean, I think not going over the top and being like, let me lay hands because and them know, like I don't know, they probably won't ask you to do stupid shit, but
No.
whatever. Maybe they will.
You never know. I
You know
think
what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I think you're right though. I think 9 times out of 10, on the internet you get people from both sides of the aisle, whatever the discussion may be, being super hateful and super loud and super crazy. And in real life, most people you meet are not going to be that horrible. They're going to be
And
like,
yeah.
"Oh,
All right. Well, we're moving.
it's going to be great."
Yes.
Uh, sure.
Oh, I was gonna say, I tell you we're moving and you're like, that's great. And everyone else is literally like, no. What do you mean?
Here's what I've learned over the years. My opinion about how much I'm going to miss you or how hard this is going to make hanging out has no bearing on whether or not your husband gets a job in Chicago.
Yeah.
My job as your friend is to be supportive and to be helpful and to let you know that I'm going to be here for you no matter what, which I am. And so whether you're in Chicago or down the street, that doesn't change.
Yeah.
So all I can do is be happy for you and help you get there, unless you're furious, and then I'm furious too. Are you mad? Let's be mad. Okay, we can be mad too. What?
No, I'm good. I said do it, so he did it. Now I'm like, oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. Sometimes, I can be. I'm going to miss you. Obviously, I'm going to miss hanging out face to face with you as
Yeah.
often as you. And there's gonna be moments where I'm like, ugh. But that doesn't change the fact that Frank got a job and it's a bomb ass job. So you're doing so all I
It's
can do is supportive.
exactly. And it's exciting and it's crazy. And it's funny because you were probably like you're definitely one of the first people I told, like handful of people. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's not even sad.
I am, but there's nothing I can do about it. So why bad?
But then we start telling more people, and we're
Yeah.
getting more of this, like, oh my gosh, that's so far away. And like, oh, this is terrible. And like, wait, you're leaving? And it's like, oh my gosh, can we be happy too? So
Yeah.
it was at first, I was like, what the heck, Kathleen? Aren't you sad? Not like in a big way, but like, oh wow, she's taking this really well. So this means she's like ready for me to go, like this stupid voice in my head thing. But then I'm like, don't be dumb. And then
No.
I'm hearing all this other noise, and I'm like, God, it was nice to not have that from you. Like
Yeah.
the noise that we got from you was great and uplifting and what we needed. And like it's been good because I mean, I'm not mad at people who are like, no, because I've been that person with other people that ended up moving, and but it's also like, but yeah,
Yeah.
like, and I will say, like, after going through like the first week of being like, oh my gosh, and then like I think New Year's Eve, you and Colleen ended up FaceTiming me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you've never FaceTimed me when Colleen's there for very long. But we
No.
talked for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Literally.
First of all, so Colleen came over for New Year's with the kids. We had like a little New Year's
Yeah.
party with the kids. We FaceTimed you and we were like, what are you doing? And you were wiping down your house plants. And I was like, this is very strange.
It
I
was.
have seen someone wipe down with a damp rag their house plants, and you explained why, and I understood, but it still didn't change the weirdness. You guys had been sanding and painting, and there was all this like construction dust, basically, and it was all over your plants, so you're wiping them down. I get it, but it was and New Year's Eve too. It's like 10 o'clock New Year's Eve, and you're like, I'm cleaning house plants, and we were like, what?
Well, let me tell you this. We talked about this off the recording. My husband has been working his behind off.
Yep.
Getting the house prepared. Like, he's doing the stuff that I don't like doing, and I haven't asked him, and I'm like, well, that's nice. But he decided, let me sand down this windowsill next to all my monsteras. That's the big leaf with the holes in it.
Yeah.
It's bigger than my face leaf.
Yeah,
Big.
they're huge.
Gets dust all over my monstera plants and the other plants that were over there that are tiny, tiny leaves. And I'm like, what the heck? Did you not have moved them? You're just pushing that dust right on them. So I was a little like, oh gosh. But that's what it's kind of been like lately, is he'll do something and then I'll look around and I'm like, I'm really glad he did that. And then I'll look at the mess and be like, oh my gosh, put some plastic down. Oh my gosh. But it's also like, but I really didn't want to do that. So I kind of don't mind.
Yeah. But
yeah,
we had a few glasses of wine in us, and we were feeling silly and goofy, and the kids were having a great time, and we were just like, let's see what Aubrey's doing. And
I literally answered the phone and I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is about. Like, I usually when we call each other, it's for something, and it's get off the phone because we don't talk, because we talk on here all the time.
We're constantly in communication with each other, but it's not always a phone call. It's usually
like Marco Polo, yeah.
And so, if it's a phone call, it's usually like, hey, we need to schedule blah, blah, blah. Does this day work for you? Okay, bye.
And then we'll talk then. And so I was kind of in my head a few days before all that thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have friends. No one's going to be my friend. And then here comes Colleen and Kathleen calling me. And I thought y'all needed something. And I was like, what's up? And y'all just have to talk. And I was like, I'm here for this. And we had the best time. And I got off the call and was like, I haven't laughed that hard in so long. And then I was like, that literally did so much for my soul.
Oh, I'm glad. It was fun.
It was the funniest, and like so much was going on, like between the two houses. I was literally laughing, but I like once again appreciate it. I texted you after. I was like, I really needed that. And then got to bring in the new year on a very positive feeling note. So I'm excited for the change. I'm also stressed out about what's changing that I can't control.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. I don't know where I'm going to live. That's weird. The market's crazy.
Yeah.
We have to go.
Yeah, we moved several times like this where you don't know where you're going yet until there's been several times that we've moved and we didn't know where we were moving until we had a truck and we're packing it and we're just like, I guess we're going. And we figured it out as we did.
That sounds chaotic.
Yeah, no, it's not fun, but
and with 3 kids.
Yeah.
But we'll have a basement. I'm pumped. I'm looking for a house with a basement. A finished basement would be great.
Oh, love a basement.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. What do you guys think about the move? What do you think about the less posting. And yeah, anyone of our listeners in Chicago? I know one. I know
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Monica.
Oh, hey, there you go.
She's the one I got the tattoo with.
Of course.
I got a tattoo.
Yeah. Oh.
We'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, get a story later. It's fine. Aubrey's really.
I'm wild. I am so wild. All right, you guys, we'll talk to you on another episode, and I hope you guys stay safe. All right.
Bye.
I don't know how to end this. Bye.
Oh, bye. I did it.